Let's say you spent 12 years gaining the weight. You probably don't need to spend 12 years losing the weight and improving your metabolic health. You might even see results in 12 months, which is a pretty fair trade-off. Like if you were screwing things up for 12 years and I was like, hey, 12 months, we can make a pretty big dent in this. Yeah, it's cool. But the problem is people want results in 12 hours or 12 weeks. And that's where there's the disconnect between health and fitness industry professionals and people who maybe walk into your average gym. Welcome to sammillerscience, where you're joining me nearly 2 decades into my personal journey to bridge the gap between macros, metabolism, muscle, and medicine. If you're joining me, thanks for trusting me to elevate your health and realize your true potential. Each week and inside every episode, I'll be sharing methods and models from my coaching journey and my personal experience, as well as the science that you need to achieve whatever specific goals you're working on in your life. Let's jump in to today's show. Welcome back. Inside today's show, we have a special featured interview for you. Over the past 7 to 10 years, I've had the amazing opportunity to collaborate with so many wonderful creators in the health and fitness space. And anytime we're talking about nutrition, metabolism, hormones, gut health, anti-aging, performance, really any topic that would be pertinent for you guys to listen to here in the Sam Miller Science feed, my team and I will take these episodes and we'll either play the full Q&A interview, mashups, or take some of the best monologue style content and bring it to you here in the feed. These topics are meant to showcase past interviews and things that I think are either important, trending, or relevant for your understanding, either in your own health and fitness journey or as a health and fitness coach. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Without further ado, let's jump into this featured replay. I think what's happened in the fitness industry is when we speak of nutrition, it's really in terms of diet culture. It's not so much actually understanding how to optimize nutrition. We don't really teach people how to think critically about making decisions. Even most nutrition books, honestly, are just diet books that have some sort of cookie cutter template at the end, or someone's trying to sell you something, right? Yeah. So when I wrote Metabolism Made Simple, I wanted it to be like, hey, there's no diet to buy at the end of this book. There's no, cookie cutter thing you got to buy. There's no plan. There's no subscription. Like, I'm just teaching you how to think critically about your body and how to make choices for your nutrition. So if someone was overweight, there's kind of this, 2 sides to the coin. In some ways, yes, it does look like a bit of an uphill battle because you've accumulated that weight, your body composition has deteriorated over time. But the great thing is that if you accept personal responsibility for the fact that your choices got you there, you can actually get yourself out very quickly. So nobody wants to do, but when you actually do that, right? Let's say you spent 12 years gaining the weight. You probably don't need to spend 12 years losing the weight and improving your metabolic health. You might even see results in 12 months, which is a pretty fair trade-off. Like if you were screwing things up for 12 years and I was like, hey, 12 months, we can make a pretty big dent in this. That's cool. But the problem is people want results in 12 hours or 12 weeks. And that's where there's the disconnect between health and fitness industry professionals and people who maybe walk into your average gym. Like my best advice to you is going to depend on the past choices you've made your entire life, because that's impacted the human that you are today in front of me.
So one of the things I've always struggled with my composition was sometimes I feel like even when I'm pretty lean, I still feel like my gut kind of comes out a little bit. Like, and I'm pretty lean, but I still feel like, I don't know if it's because my abs are pretty flat, but I have this kind of, my lower half kind of sticks out a little bit. Is that like gut health issues?
Yeah. So it depends on distension. If you have like early fullness at meals, you could have lower stomach acid. So if you're like training a lot, consume a fair amount of caffeine, it's pretty common in society for people to have lower stomach acid levels. So it is possible.
It's the coffee.
No, I'm not blaming the coffee. I'm just saying if you are someone who likes to have caffeine, you also train pretty intensely. What I tend to see in athletes is they may have lower stomach acid levels. And so addressing that, assuming, you've dialed in things from a nutrition perspective, because it's also possible too, that's just the last place you lose body fat. Like if I go on a diet and you go on a diet and we're even remotely similar body fat percentages, we're not all losing fat from the same place at the same time, and I've even had it be different for individuals on different diets. Like when I used to diet for physique and bodybuilding, where I would lose body fat first or last is different. Like when I was younger, it used to be a lot harder for my legs to get lean. Now as an older guy, well, I'm not that old, but now, as I've trained for a while and just in terms of my body composition, my legs are a little bit leaner most of the year, but for me, it'd probably be my lower back. Whereas you're saying it's your abs.
Yeah.
So it could be,
well, no, I definitely have the lower back.
Yeah. So sure. It could be where are you losing body fat first? Because we're not really controlling that. Like in terms of if you are just going into a calorie deficit and you're training regularly, trying to optimize your macronutrients, you're on TRT, you're optimized from a hormonal perspective, it's possible that it would just take you longer in that deficit to begin losing body fat there. Now, if it did feel like bloating or early fullness after meals, or you wake up and even first thing in the morning with an empty stomach, you feel like you've got something going on there, that's where we may consider some type of gut health intervention.
Yeah.
And even too, you can eat fruit, but depending on the carbohydrate source, some fruits are going to be higher in FODMAPs. So it may feed, like if you did have any sort of gut overgrowths, those fermentable carbohydrates can tend to feed that gut bacteria.
Like, so, what are some fruits that I should potentially stay away from? So
I would want to look at like what you're eating right now, and almost like go through a food log and shift just towards like lower FODMAP stuff. So berries are usually good for that. I think it's possible that part of it is if you're just eating a lot to support training, that maybe you would just need to be at a lower body fat level to see like the level of ab definition that you're looking for. If it is something gut related, we'd probably want to go through a little bit more of a deep dive. Even if too, I'd be curious, like, are you pairing protein with any of that fruit? Are you having any like protein shakes or anything? Are you having any way vegan?
Most of the time, I'll eat fruit with the steak and stuff when I have that.
Okay.
But in the morning, I'll kind of just have it on its own.
Okay.
But I'll have like fruit and coffee.
Okay.
Like I've already had 3 coffees.
Okay.
It's 12 o'clock.
Have you play around with like supplementing a little bit, or even you can do a number of things. You can take HCl supplement, or use apple cider vinegar, can support that acidity as well. Bromelain in pineapple can also help you digest that red meat too. So if you do like pineapple, pairing that, if you're going to have a larger steak meal, could be good. Bromelain's really great from the perspective of digestion, but also even good for your joints too. So that's a great reason to have some pineapple.
And where could I get that?
Pineapple. Yeah.
Oh,
it's in pineapple.
Yeah.
It's in pineapple. So it sounds like a weird combination. You could, but if you're eating I wouldn't worry about that just yet. I would focus more on that. And then just depending on your caffeine intake, obviously you got a big trip coming up, but then when you come back, I'd kind of see how things are landing in terms of food and caffeine intake. My hunch is that because you are eating pretty liberally in terms of the fruit, and then also when you are actually having the protein, it could be a matter of just like dialing in some of the portions on those. But I do think, generally speaking, those food groups are great choices for most Americans because so many people are overweight. So I don't want people to think that I eat a ton of fruit and I eat a lot of red meat as well, usually like grass-fed beef, steak, etc. So I'm generally in favor of those foods. I just haven't spent, if I could be a fly on the wall and spend, 24, 48 hours with you and see, okay, this is what you're eating with this is how much, this is how you feel afterwards, this is how you're training. That's what would give me the details I need to be like, okay, cool, this is what we're doing, versus just like grabbing a coffee and sitting down for podcasts.
Is there another way to become a bodybuilder or get into that bodybuilding shape, without having to follow that super strict, little bit of carbs, rice, chicken, super lean? I mean, can people get pretty lean without having to follow a very strict diet like that?
It's possible. I think if you
have a good metabolism.
So basically thyroid function optimized, if you're probably going to be on either bioidentical hormone replacement, or if you are taking PEDs, I think it also depends on after your last diet, when you were lean, if you were able to reverse diet, get your maintenance calories a little bit higher. Because if you keep your maintenance calories higher, you're going to be able to diet on higher calories versus if you maintain your weight. So maintenance calories are like a moving target. People think of it as like a single, almost like a game of darts where you're just going to throw it. And like, that's exactly what I need to maintain my weight. Really, it moves though, depending on your non-exercise physical activity, thermic effect of food. So even eating more protein, right? That we burn calories in the digestion and absorption of that. So it's more of a sliding scale or a window. And so if I'm able to adjust my maintenance calories through my training, my non-exercise physical activity, all of those things help to basically shift that total daily energy expenditure. Then when I am dieting, there are things that I can do to prevent having quite as much metabolic adaptation or slowdown. That's a normal thing that's going to happen when you restrict calories. It's just a transient shift in your metabolism. But if we diet intelligently, we can prevent that. Now, the reason so many people have to diet on super low calories to get in shape is largely because they've restricted calories before. They haven't spent time building up those maintenance calories. And then when they try to get lean, they have to be super restrictive because of that, or they just don't have as much muscle as they think they do, right? So building muscle, training, having, good high daily step counts. I'm sure you're in New York, you walk around a lot, you get a ton of steps in.
I'm at 5,000 already.
Yeah. So if you're keeping that non-exercise physical activity high, you're training, that I've noticed helps people get leaner. Even just like post-meal walks, short little
I love that.
movement snacks.
Yeah.
That can keep people a lot leaner, helps them manage your insulin sensitivity. Those are great. So I would say now if I were to diet for show, I don't really have a desire to, but something I would do differently than before is it used to be the conventional approach is do a bunch of cardio in the morning and then you'd like train in the afternoon, split those up. Not much discussion of what you're doing during the day. You're working and stuff like that. I would really place a greater emphasis on moving after meals, even if it's just light movement, going for a walk can be great. And bringing that non-exercise physical activity up versus just solely relying on conventional cardio.